Would you like to support the Insiders? Pick up some merch now. Support us by getting a shirt, a hoodie. Support Abby's Window. Get a Shenanigans shirt. Whatever you'd like. Pick up some merch now. Insiders Pro Wrestling. The link is at the end of the video.
Welcome, everybody. It is Sunday night. The clocks have turned back. We had an extra hour of sleep, but now it gets dark at 5 o'clock. It's one of the weirdest times of the year. You try to get used to things, and all of a sudden your life just gets completely haywire. I see so many people discussing NFL. Joe doesn't want to talk any NFL tonight. I'm a little snarky about the way that the certain game ended today, and the way the referees decided to give that certain team the certain game tonight. So I'm a little snarky about NFL football right now. So I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad we get to talk about wrestling, and I get to forget all about all of that business. But good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. We, of course, are here with our Between the Ropes show, our Sunday show. And as you can see, Jeff has been busy. I know, it's great. We're getting a lot more comments on our videos, which I love, by the way. Keep on giving us comments. I try to answer every one of them. And people were commenting on Jeff's graphics, which is tremendous. Absolutely love that. People were saying they love the new look, and that's awesome. And
there's more of a new look. There you go.
Yes, there you go. See, he's working. He's working. And Jeff does a lot behind the scenes stuff, and it's great when people notice that and he gets some praise for it, because people that do that kind of thing and work hard at it, like you're seeing now. I love that stuff. That is right up my alley. That's 80s stuff. You see a lot of this with the synthwave music that I listen to and like the sun in the background and the grid. I love it. Absolutely love it.
You're gonna love one of these themes, then. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's fantastic, and I told Jeff it's much appreciated. He does all of that work for us, and it's not easy, guys. It's not easy when you're a creator, content creator, and doing stuff on YouTube to make your videos look good. It is not an easy thing to do, and especially Jeff has such a busy time during the week with his job that makes him work 6 days a week, and it's not easy to find the time. But he does that, and he does that for for you guys. It's great to see the comments and stuff like that. So continue to leave us comments. It's awesome. All right. Well, you know why we're here. This, of course, is our weekly wrestling wrap-up show. This is called Between the Ropes, in case you're new and have never visited this show before. Welcome, welcome, welcome. First off, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Please make sure you drop a like on our stream tonight as well. It's a huge, huge deal for us. We've been getting more and more views on the Impact shows, which is amazing. We seem to be getting more of a crowd there, and everybody's liking the streams. Like, I absolutely love that. So please continue to do it. It's super, super important for us. Also, make sure you hit the bell, hit that notification bell to be notified about when we've got our content. That said, next up, of course, tomorrow night is 6 o'clock. That is Abby's Abode. Jeff and Jody will continue the horror bracket, and they got a horror bracketology thing going on with slasher films, and they got it down to the big four. And then we get to 2, and then of course 1 will be decided. 1 will be standing above all the rest. So make sure you join them for that. I know they've got a nice little crowd in there that are fans of horror and fans of wrestling. They have wrestling to talk about too. They'll be talking about a Joe Gacy promo I know Jody wants to discuss. That was big during the course of this week. There was also an appearance by someone who didn't get shown during the show yesterday. It was one SmackDown actually was one carrying Cross in a little promo that was supposed to be him and Scarlett and Shotzi Blackheart. So they might talk a little bit about that too. So make sure you join them tomorrow. That's at 6 o'clock. And then of course we'll be back on Thursday with the next episode of Impact Wrestling, which has been just absolutely tremendously fun. We're going to get some of the matches that they're doing overseas on these shows. And they are heading toward another pay-per-view, which will be in December, which will be their last one of the year. So join us for that. Of course, heading to TNA and all the big, exciting stuff that's going on with that. Okay, that said, let me welcome people in here. We've got Clown with a K, 13420. Hello to you. James Grant is here. Hey, James. Swag Fan is here. Hey, everyone. Let's get it. Dylan is here. Tazzy is here. It's an insider's party, baby. It is. It is. Welcome, Tazzy. Sean is here. Brandon Davey is here. What's up, Brandon? We've got Nathan is here. Hello to you. Tony Kaname Curon. Hello, Tony. What's up with you? Big Dan is here. What's going on, Dan? We got Chris from Twitch. We have Derek. Derek talking about football. I know the pain of football today. We have
same.
Yeah, we're all in pain from football today, right? Jeff is in pain. We're all just
at least my Tigers won yesterday.
I said I'm looking forward to basketball now, and my Celtics are on a roll, and I'm a Celtics fan now, so there's that. Big Boy Dally is here. Hello to you, Anthony Slate, member of our channel and a supporter of our channel. We appreciate you, dude. Thank you for being a member. We are very appreciative of our channel members. John G is here. What's up, John? Bonkers is here. Noob & Co. is here. Hello, Noob. How are you? Noob is kind enough to give us shout-outs every Friday, which is awesome of him to do. So thank you for that, man. Much appreciated, and thanks for joining. We have my Raiders rolled the Giants. Oh, there you go. Well, you had a big blow-up on your team, dude. Like big blow up. Like they blew the whole thing up, man. Poof. Coach gone, this gone, that gone. You just blew everything up. I kind of wish sometimes the Cowboys would do that, actually. Big boy, Jeff's team is the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers. And I am unfortunately a Cowboy fan after that just disgusting massacre of referee business today that I watched on TV.
So I have to say that the Buccaneers today snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Yes, I know I said it the wrong way, and that's exactly how it was meant to be said. Because somehow they found a way to lose at the end of the game. But again, my Tigers won yesterday. It seems that both of my teams can't win on the same week, so I'm just having to kind of trade off each week. So it's okay. I'm just happy that it's going to be basketball season for me.
The Cowboys just love to tease me. Like they're down and out. They're down by 11, right? They get a score. They're down by 5. They hang around. They hang around. They hang around. They somehow get the ball back, right? They're down. Then they score a touchdown. They think they get the extra point. Nope. Dak's foot's out of bounds. They had an earlier touchdown that was called a touchdown, but the dude didn't make it into the end zone. And then they get the ball. Right. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, they're on their own 14-yard line. They're going nowhere. They got like 40 seconds to get down the field and no timeouts. Right. Impossible. Right. Pass interference. They get the ball 1st and 10. Big, huge pass interference call. They get the ball at the 50. So right away, they cut the field in half. Another big penalty. They're down to the Eagles 10 with hardly any time off the clock. There's like 17 seconds runoff. Right. And they have 4 shots at the end zone from the 10. I'm like, now you can't screw this up. Well, they screwed it up. They give up a sack. They're knocked back 20 yards. Then they lose again. Oh, it's just disgusting. They just tease me. And just close enough to think that Derek, honestly, I'm not going to say that Dak's not as I've always said that I don't think Dak's a Super Bowl quarterback. I just don't. He's a good quarterback. I just don't think he's a guy that's going to get you what Tom Brady gets teams. That's going to get you what Patrick Mahomes brings. He's a system guy. But listen, I can't blame him for today. He was really good. He threw for the problem today was his right guard couldn't block. They gave up 5 sacks, and they all came from that same side of the field. That dude, that's Terrence Steele, I think his name is, on the right. He's usually pretty good. He got burned like 4 or 5 times on sacks today. So he was scrambling for his life back there, but he threw 3 touchdown passes. He actually had a good game. So, whatever. But that's, they did. This is just what I live with, and being a fan of the Cowboys. So, all right, so let's get beyond the football so I can take a deep breath and move on. We got a lot to talk about anyway, because there is a lot going on between pay-per-views, between just everything that's out there. And, there is breaking news. And the breaking news is stuff that some of it happened on the pay-per-views, which we're going to go over in more detail. But I don't know, Jeff, I guess I guess we should probably start with the and this is just not good news at all. The excitement, Jeff, over the NWA stuff, and what happened with this. This is just mind-boggling to me. When you know that you're possibly going to get a TV deal, and the hype for that was there, and NWA was looking up, and then this happens. Like, how in goodness?
I'm making that bigger so people can see it.
Yeah, like, look at that picture. How can you do this? How can you let this happen? Like, come on, man. Like, Father James Mitchell, he's been around, right? He's not some new dude. He's been around. And, how can you let something like this happen when you were so close to a TV deal? And you can see what that stuff is, guys. And it's not powdered sugar. It's not salt on that table.
Ain't baby powder. We can tell you that.
Yeah, that is, and they have now, whether or not they're actually doing that, or whether it was just some sort of goofy promo setup. But oh my God, how stupid! How stupid can you be? Like, that is a horrible look, and that could cause the end of that TV deal. Like, the CW looks at that and they're like, "Yeah, we're out. We're out. That ain't happening. We want none of that on our channel. No, sir."
So Joe, Brandon Davey is saying what happened. There's really no delicate way to put it, Brandon. Yep. There was a shot during the pay-per-view where they pan to the crowd, and you have Father James Mitchell and a few other folks around this table, and they were partaking in a little booger sugar, you can say. It was wild. Like, I couldn't believe it when I saw it, and then I sent it to Joe. I had to look around, but
oh wow. My gosh, dude, my gosh, what a mess. I heard it was Billy's idea. If that was Billy's idea, then he must have been snorting some of that prior. That's all I can think of. What was he thinking? Sometimes people in wrestling like to create controversy purposely. It helps to get attention to you and all this other kind of stuff. But man, you can't do it like this. You can't do it like this. It's just stupid. Like and I don't know. The only people I could see out on the internet, and I looked as much as I could on Twitter and everywhere else, that people were trying to maybe defend this somehow, were people saying that, oh, it was a promo, it wasn't real, it was fake, blah 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 blah. But it doesn't matter. Like you can't. What a distasteful thing to do. Like you can't do that. Now look, we've watched, right, with the treehouse stuff with Impact, right? We know what that alludes to. Everyone knows what they're talking about. I mean, Trey Miguel even comes out and goes like this, right? So we all know what that means. But guess what? That is not an illegal drug anymore. This stuff is. So you want to create a little bit of controversy? Yeah, I don't know. Go say you're hanging out in a treehouse or in a and show that kind of stuff. That won't get you into that kind of trouble. But this loses TV deals, Jeff. And man, they have nobody but themselves to blame. Nobody but themselves. And boy, who I feel bad for, Jeff, is I feel bad for the talent. I feel horrible for the talent that could have had themselves on. Now, we don't know. Did they cancel anything yet? Not as of yet. We're assuming that. But if that does happen, I feel bad for the talent. The ones that could have been seen on TV, the ones that aren't seen as much because they don't have their show on a network, they're the people I feel bad for. Yeah, Billy Corgan, look, that man is a billionaire more than likely. He had Smashing Pumpkins his entire life. I feel bad for the talent. And also maybe, Jeff, and we talked about this, the possible future signing of some talent. Maybe they would have picked up some people from WWE that were released. Maybe they would get some other people in there. Well, I tell you what, that's probably out the window too, because I kind of doubt that anybody's going to want to go there now.
I mean, you want to talk about, a week ago we were talking about a redemption story and how they overcame the odds and they went into obscurity like a lot of companies did during the pandemic, and you start to feel good. You feel like they've got some goodwill going, and they were on the right foot. And then you see this, and it's like, yeah, I got you, Hanzo.
That's all good.
Yeah, all good. But yeah, and then you see something like this, and it's like, what were they thinking?
Mm-hmm.
And if that report or rumor is true that it was his idea, then are you trying to get your contract deemed null and void? Because I'm pretty sure there's a morality clause or something in there about this type of behavior, and it sucks. And you brought up the talent, but I'm going to add in another group, and I liken this group to a lot of Impact fans, a lot of fans that are really big supporters of companies, and that's the NWA fans. There are a lot of them out there that have supported the company through thick and thin. Through years of just tough years. And to see this happening, it sucks. I hate it. But hopefully they don't get thrown out of their deal. Hopefully they can keep their deal somehow, some way. And hopefully they have learned from this and don't repeat the same mistake.
Yeah, man. I mean, the best case scenario, I think, here is that the people that were involved in this are out. That's the best case scenario.
That's probably the best case scenario.
Yeah, that's best case, is that but if they find out that it was indeed Billy, that probably is it. That's probably it. That's probably enough to say no. Listen, especially the CW. It's not like it's not like it's a pay channel, right? It's not like it's HBO Max. It's not like it's one of those places that actually don't mind showing a little more adult content. Even AMC for that matter, they have people saying the F word after 10 o'clock. So
Right.
some of them wouldn't be that bad, but CW, they were thinking of going to like more older folks content. That's why I was almost surprised at this deal, because they got rid of a lot of their. I used to watch the CW for the superhero shows. I used to watch a lot of the stuff that was on there. They had Arrow on there. I think at one point they had the Flash on there for years. I watched it for that. But they were saying that once the superhero stuff is done, they're going to go to like more older folks content, like some more court shows and some more, the stuff that the older folk tend to watch. And this is definitely wouldn't qualify for that. So yeah, I don't know. It is just like Jeff said. I mean, we knew other content creators in our younger times with this channel who were very good people. And like Jeff said, that were doing NWA even back when it was still on YouTube. We got to know some of them, had some of them on our show, as a matter of fact, and they're good people. And I'm sure they were getting set to be rewarded with the TV deal as well. Like they can go and they can do shows and watch alongs and stuff, kind of like we do. And now that could all be out the window. And what a shame! What a shame that this had to happen. So just lousy news, and it's just a lot of people are involved there, and it's just bad, lousy news.
Yeah.
Let's see. Get creating talk, but this kind of thing can really backfire. Jason P. Hello to you, Jason, and others that joined. If I missed anyone, John G. I think. Yeah. I love wrestling, but I'm sorry. This is to me as a black guy, not just the NWA, but the wrestling world. Imagine if Triple H saw this in WWE. I would guarantee. Oh, Triple H would. There'd be people fired, instantaneously fired. But see, that's the thing. I don't think that this goes on. Even under people, people will say things about Tony Khan and stuff like that, but even under his watch, him and stuff, and I'll definitely say Scott D'Amore. I really don't think you would see any of this stuff go on under those guys' watch. So I just don't. There goes the signing of a lot of current talent and future talent got released from WWE out the window. I'm already feeling bad for the talent. I feel bad for the end of it. Yeah, they could have had a lot of people. I was talking about Elias. I thought would have fit really well in that company, because of his music thing, the gimmick with the guitar. And I mean, Billy Corgan's a musician. I just think it would have been a good fit. But yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's a shame because the NWA is so rich with history. They were around for so long and had so much good stuff. And we were loving it when we were watching, when Nick Aldis was there, when Thunder Rosa was there, when Ricky Starks was there. I loved Josephus, of course, question mark. They had such good stuff going on right around COVID time that they were doing on YouTube. And it was really fun to watch. But yeah, it's just a shame. It's really just a shame. So Greg Felty came in. Hello to you, Greg. And Jeremy Dunderman, of course. Jeremy, a member of our channel as well. No problem, Jeremy. It's all good. It's all good. You're here now. That's what matters. If there is one day out of the course of the year that anybody is allowed to be late, and that even goes for work and stuff like that, it's today because of the stupid clock thing. So, all right, that's our breaking news, an unfortunate one, but we're going to move on to happier things, Jeff. I think we had a little bit of a return to talk about from. Yeah. We're going to review Crown Jewel. Jeff and I, of course, didn't get to watch it. I know Tazzy, of course, had the stream, and I did go back and watch it late last night. And but we had a return, man, and what a return and what an impression it was to see Kairi Sane come back. There were rumors flying. Everybody said she's back. As far as like 3 months ago, people were talking about it. And it came out in a report that she was indeed signed, and she had been signed for a little bit. But man, oh man, love the new outfit. Love the way she looks. She always looked fantastic. Let's face it. Kairi looks amazing. Loved what she did. A lot of people questioned it, but then I love, Jeff, how Michael Cole brought up the last time she was in WWE to just remind everyone who beat the living hell out of her. And it was Bayley. So where does this lead? I really don't know, but I love her and Io together. Do they come up with a tag team now a little bit? It just seems like she's in her corner, and maybe they both betray Bailey now because but what a return, Jeff. And she looks amazing. That elbow of hers off the top rope. Oh my gosh, it's one of the best flying elbows you will see in the business. I'm so glad she's back. It was one of the highlights of the show yesterday, no doubt. We'll talk about more, but what did you think of Kairi Sane's return?
Well, I've got to say this. I got to shout out James Grant. James Grant has been saying this.
Yeah, he's been on the train for a while.
He's been out there for a while. So let's give credit where it's due. James Grant. I'll say this too. I'm happy to see her back. But if you believe in the reports and the rumors and different things, supposedly she is not alone. So we may see some more people joining her, and who could that be, and what alliances could form. And I know, they were a part of a team at one point, so we could see that again. But just keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes on this, because I mean, immediately when I started seeing people talking about Kairi coming back, I said they have to somehow factor in the last time that we saw her. Have to factor that in, because it was so significant and it was such a brutal beatdown. It was, I mean, it's got to be factored in somehow, and good on them for doing that. So yeah, I'm happy to see her back. Happy to see another addition to the women's division in WWE. You remember for a while we were talking about how stale the division had gotten and how they needed to do some things to spice up the division a little bit. Well, I'd say they've done that over the last several months.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt, dude. I like the comment Brandon put in there. Sane, Asuka, and Io Sky as a faction or as a group. Yeah, dude, just absolutely deadly. It's funny though. You wonder how that's going to work out. Obviously, they attacked Bianca Belair, so they are obviously looking like they're heels. Io already was. Kairi definitely looking like she's joining her, so it looks as if they're playing heels. If that's the case, does Bailey turn? Does Bailey maybe go back to, face Bailey, which we haven't seen for a long time? So I don't know. I don't know how that shapes up, but it does look like there's going to be some sort of revenge angle going on there and something happening. But it was great to see her back. Great to have her back in wrestling. We all know that she left. Listen, it's not like she wasn't doing anything. She won the title over in New Japan until she was beaten by Mercedes Moné. So she's definitely been doing some stuff. I think they had said that she just missed her home. She just wanted to leave and go back home. And good on her, but she definitely kept herself busy, and she's been doing a lot of stuff. But great to see her back, and I love the design. Like I said, I love the design of her outfit, and I'm sure we'll hear more of her on Monday Night Raw. So very, very excited about that. Just one of the highlights, but there was more than that, Jeff, and we got some stories here about. I guess we should entitle this "What's Next," because. Where do we go from here? I guess there was a really good song by the Alan Parsons Project called "Where Do We Go From Here" back in the 80s that I really loved, and it kind of reminded me of this segment. And this is, of course, is remnants from Crown Jewel, but we have some names now that are kind of up in the air. Where do they go? Drew McIntyre. Where does he go? We saw him last with his head down. He lost clean. There was no funny business going on. He lost clean. And then he got a visit from Rhea Ripley. And Rhea just kind of smiled and went, and walked away from him with his head down. Where do we go from here for Bianca Belair, who lost? She's been kind of in the mix with titles for so long. So where does she go? Cody Rhodes. Cody, of course, gets the win. Yes, but what's involved with this, and that has to be tied in with what happened with LA Knight. And we're gonna segue into a segment with this discussion later, but and I was afraid of this. Because with LA Knight being so extremely popular, and so many people that love what LA Knight is doing, including myself. I think he's fantastic. What do you do with him now? He lost the same way everyone else seems to lose to Roman Reigns, outside interference. So obviously you figure, well, it'll probably be him against Jimmy Uso would be the most logical choice because Jimmy was the one who came in and cost him the match. But now, where do we go? And it's, so, and I know a lot of people were really upset. A lot of people thought this was time for him to be the one to win it, the underdog story, the guy who comes up out of nowhere. Now, where does he go? What do they do with him? Sure, you could throw him in a side feud with Jimmy, and I'm sure he might be involved in some way at Survivor Series with the group that is going to go against the Bloodline, or if they do that, Roman won't be there. But I don't, so it's just now we've got some people really hanging out there. Does this pave the way for Cody's story again? Does that go back into play where Cody's then going to get his big shot at Roman, and that's where this all ends? I don't know. It's kind of a sideways around a lot, but Jeff, Crown Jewel really left us, I think, with more questions than it did answers.
Yeah, I think with certain things, you're absolutely correct that it did leave us with more questions than answers. Drew McIntyre. I will say this: whoever did that video package,
oh yeah,
they did a great job.
Yeah, oh yeah,
they got me.
Well, you're talking about the one in the promo that he did on Raw.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a promo! That had me wondering who I was going to root for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was well done. Yep. Very well done.
Yep.
So, it's like, okay, we're going to get a heel Drew at some point. The question becomes, does he join the Judgment Day? Does he stay alone? There's a lot of reports, rumors, whatever out there saying that he hasn't re-signed with WWE. Is that true?
There is.
What's the status of that? So there's a lot going on there. But I think regardless, we get a heel Drew, and we'll see what happens. I mean, could he go up? I don't know what's next for him. I'd love to see him in another title match at some point, because I do want to see him have that moment in front of the fans. He deserves it. He's earned it. But where do you go with him? LA Knight, I'm a little more optimistic on LA Knight, because I think, like some of the folks that go up against Roman do, the one thing you worry about is this going to halt their momentum?
Right.
Well, when Cody lost to Roman at WrestleMania last year, it certainly didn't halt his.
Right.
We could argue that he's more popular today than he was going into that match. You look at Seth. You've got certain people, I think, that have used that loss and the way that they look in the loss to propel them even further. And I think that could be a possibility with LA Knight. Now, I do think there is something perfect that James Grant mentioned, so I'm not going to completely steal his thunder. But I think you set yourself up for a Logan Paul, LA Knight feud. And have LA Knight take the strap, take the U.S. title off of him. Then you're elevating that U.S. title. You're having one of your most over guys carry a championship for a little bit. and now you've defeated the Logan Paul issue that some fans have. So I think that's a possibility. Bianca, I think she's got to turn heel at this point. I think she's got to get aggressive and go after what she wants, but I think she's got to do it in a different way. And maybe, just maybe, that involves getting a partner and going after those women's tag team titles. Maybe someone who hasn't debuted just yet.
Yeah. That's a great point about Logan Paul. I you know what? I'll be honest with you. I didn't even consider that. That's a great shout because people hate him. Plain and simple people. If there's a person up on the scale of the hate Roman gets, and it could even be more, they probably hate him more than Roman, because a lot of people actually still cheer Roman when he comes down. You heard the Saudi crowd. Even when he comes down, yes, he gets booed. He gets called an a-hole, which they were doing repeatedly, but he still does get cheers, and people still, kind of like seeing him. Logan Paul, no one likes that dude. No one. So having LA Knight beat him, very smart. Very, very smart, yes, because he would then take down one of the most hated people by wrestling fans in the industry, and that would be a huge step for him. And then he would get a title. And some people were saying that it was too soon for him. They should have put him in a hunt for a different title than they did. So maybe now he got that little taste, right? And I think Michael Cole alluded to that yesterday. He got that early taste of what it was like to be in the ring. He held his own. Hell, he could have won it at the end there if Jimmy didn't interfere. He had Roman probably beat. So that's more than a lot of other people said. He also avoided a couple of his biggest moves. He actually countered a spear, which you don't see that much from any other wrestler to counter Roman spear. So he definitely did earn a lot of respect. So yeah, that's a great shout out. The thing with Logan Paul. Yeah, I like that. Cody, I'm not as concerned about either, because obviously we kind of all knew. We kind of all knew this. He said the story was still there, and he was still going, telling his story and stuff like that. And he still talks about it. So it never really went away. And so more than likely, it will come to pass. The question is where. Will it be at the Rumble that Cody gets his shot? Will it be after the Rumble? Is he going to have to go through that again, or he's going to have to win it again to call his shot against Roman, or will he get the shot at the Royal Rumble? Either way, but you would think that they're going to go forward with that. And yeah, Bianca's a great call too. Bianca just needs a change. Yeah, plain and simple, just needs a change. And a heel is probably a good way to go. And Drew's a kind of an enigma. I like the way he was acting, kind of like the lone wolf type of Batman kind of character, the brooding, dark. I don't want anyone's help. I just want to be, who I am and what I am. I kind of like that. So if he goes heel, I'm okay with that, but I wouldn't want him to see him abandon that what he's doing. I don't know that I want to see him join Judgment Day, unless he plans on just destroying Judgment Day from within at some point, but that would make him a face again, pretty much. And as far as the one other thing, I guess, Jeff, is we kind of had a repeat of something that happened a little bit ago when someone stole someone's belt. It brought me back memories to The Miz when the briefcase was stolen, and now we've got that going on again. I know a lot of people out there were saying, "Oh boy," they tend to kind of do this when they're not really sure what they want to do with the guy who has the case. And that's when this happened with Miz, with that whole thing where he stole it, and then it got into a program. And so it's going to lead to Priest against Sammy, and then they go forward from there. But he really doesn't, he only has a year, right? He only has a year to cash that title in, or that briefcase in. And then you wonder if they're going to do any sort of stipulation with that thing with Sammy. Then that if Sammy wins, does he get the case? Which could also happen. They seem to like just decide on these things a little, and I guess a lot of it has to do with storyline and how the Judgment Day is going, things like that. They were making it seem like they were going to turn Damian Priest maybe at some point against them, but the Judgment Day is just doing so well on Raw and as that heel faction there, and they're almost like the bloodline of Raw basically. And so very interesting developments. Crown Jewel though altogether was a fun show. I enjoyed it. I'm trying to think of some of the other women's match. Of course, pretty predictable there. I didn't really think that Rhea Ripley would lose, although some people showed out pretty good in that match. Shayna Baszler, of course, Zoe Stark. So some good stuff happening there. I'm trying to think of what else we got. Of course, the Seth and Drew match was very good. And of course, I mean, geez, Jeff, we've saying farewell to John Cena. Very interesting. Some people were putting out memes and stuff saying goodbye, John. Thank you, John, online. And what you have to think of is the writer's strike is over. And that was really the reason why he was kind of hanging around. So they're going to be going back to work. He's got Peacemaker 2 that he's going to be working on for DC and a lot of big plans with that. They're going to use him in a lot of the other movies too. He's going to supposedly be in the Superman film that they're doing. So he's going to be working hard in Hollywood. So it might have been the last match anyway, that we see John Cena work. So a little bit sad. The fans were kind of stunned when he did end up losing that match. But Jeff, on the other hand, what a way to put over Solo Sikoa.
I mean, if you really think about it with John Cena and you think about other legends where he was in terms of, I mean, they've made no bones about it. They keep calling him the greatest of all time when they introduce him.
Yeah, they did.
They're really leaning into that. So I want you to think about the last several matches that he's had where he's put people over in a major way.
Yep.
Even dating back to the match he had up against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam several years ago. I mean, really think about it. No, we had never seen John Cena destroyed like that.
Yep.
But we saw it there. And that's what that match made me think of last night. When we saw Brock Lesnar do that to John Cena, it was like he hit another level. He was already great. He was already feared. But when he did that to John Cena, it was just like, wow. Now we've got the same thing with Solo. So, I think it's a possibility, Joe. We talked about this a little bit with some of the bloodline story, and spoiler alert, folks, we're going to get there.
Yeah.
Here shortly. But it's almost like they're trying to set up a parallel who's the baddest dude in the bloodline kind of scenario. And this makes Solo look pretty darn badass, I'll say.
Yeah, you could kind of start to see that, right? Jimmy Uso thinks he's the biggest thing now. He thinks he's the guy, right? He's zipping around all the time, being like, "Yo, man, yeah, And of course, he's going to be rubbing it in with Roman, saying, "Hey, I saved you. If it wasn't for me," and so that's going to cause some ripples at some point. And then there's Solo. Hey, we finally heard him talk. That was kind of big, right? But and a lot of people are saying that if the bloodline thing keeps continuing on past the Cody Rhodes stuff, that eventually Solo will probably turn on Roman at some point. So that's probably going to end up happening too. But yeah, the actor strike. I know the actors are still in strike, but I don't think it's going to last that long, Sean. The writer strike was settled. I think they'll settle with the actors pretty soon too. But in any case, if it's not the last time, it could be one of the last times that we see John in a match.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that. A lot of people are saying, well, maybe they'd have him beat Ric Flair's record and win another title. I don't think so. I don't think so. I kind of tend to think that they have respect for the guys like that, and John probably himself would be like, yeah, I don't know. I don't, while it would be cool, does he need to do it? No. And so But yeah,
I think if anyone does it, it's going to be his daughter.
Yeah. Oh, Charlotte. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yep. But in any case, it was a good show. It was fun to watch, and you got some stuff out of it. A lot of times in those shows, it's kind of the ending for the year for them because the storylines, they start to wrap up a little bit there, and then they kind of now you're going to Survivor Series, which would be kind of a different animal, and then they're at the end of the year, so the storylines wrap up. They start new ones. You probably will start tomorrow on Raw, heading into almost into the WrestleMania season, into the Rumble. So yeah, it was all around. It was a good show. It was fun. It was fun to watch. So, all right, we're moving on and to our favorite wrestling promotion. Impact had a little pay-per-view called Turning Point. This was just listen. Impact's just so much fun to watch. You see stuff on these shows that is just absolutely fun, tremendous, some great wrestling. And I got a chance to watch Will Ospreay, who I know is all over the news. His name is all over the place today because now it's saying WWE is interested, where it was saying that AEW all but said they had him signed. And then they also said in the same article that you cannot take Impact out of this because of this name switch to TNA. Let me just tell you guys, and I've not really watched him wrestle much, but I have gone back now and I have. This man is the stuff. He is tremendous at what he does. So fast, so quick for a man his size, and his finisher absolutely just devastating. We saw him in 2 freaking amazing matches so far, and he's got another one probably coming up too. These 3 matches, okay? The first one was with Speedball Mike Bailey. You guys that come out and watch Impact with us every week know who Speedball Mike Bailey is. You know what he does. You know how good this man is. That match, 5-star, no doubt. It got a 5-star from our friend too, who gave it a 5-star. Good old Mr. M gave it a 5-star. Tremendous match, right? Now we got him against Eddie Edwards, one of the best in the business. Eddie, one of the veterans of TNA and Impact. Again, another fantastic match. And we have a match coming up with him that we're going to be able to watch on a Thursday on Impact with Josh Alexander. Just freaking and Jeff, the promo that he gave after the show gave me chills. He certainly didn't have to do what he did. He came out, said he was an Impact kid or a TNA kid. That's what he said. I was a TNA kid, and I have nothing but love for the wrestlers in the back, the people that I worked with, the people that are in this company. And he just praised Impact so much so that Jeff on that show said they should use this. They should use this as something for their upcoming thing with TNA. Because it was nothing but a promo to praise TNA. And that's why you might sleep on Impact, you might sleep on TNA, but man, I'll say this. I get it. The big names are in there. WWE is huge. AEW is huge. They're both in there. Don't count out TNA for him. Don't count him out because he could shock the world, which would be also huge news. Huge news. And if he even signed with TNA for 2 years, that would put TNA on the map. And if he said he was a TNA kid, what better way for him to go to a different company, even if it's for 2 years, and make them huge? Bring them back to the big company that they were, put them right up there with the big 2 as another place for people to go. What better way to do that? Listen, WWE is already established. He's going to go there, sure. He's a big name, sure. He can get wrestling matches with, my God, you can imagine him with anyone. Him and Roman, you can put him up there with anybody. But WWE is already there. TN or AEW already there. But if you could take Little Impact, who's now becoming TNA again, up to that realm, man, that I don't think there's any other better way to do it, even if he gets a smaller contract. So, but this was amazing. Trinity had a great match with Deonna Purrazzo. Of course, Trinity retained her title. Now Deonna Deonna can't challenge anymore. She is done as long as Trinity remains title holder. She also had a very cool little interaction with Gail Kim. Remember Gail Kim? Gail Kim and Deonna might be in line for a match if Gail decides she wants to. Gave her the finisher called her finisher's called Eat Defeat. Hit Deonna with that, and so that was interesting stuff. We had an amazing, funny as hell thing with Joe Hendry, who decides to make up another video, and the videos he makes for his opponents. Absolutely, Simon Miller was his opponent, and absolutely tremendous video that he made, had everybody cracking up laughing. We had some new wrestlers that were announced, young people that they signed to a new contract. 19 years old, has his whole career in front of him. It's going to be so much fun to see him grow. Jeff, this was just a fun show. It happened overseas, a different venue, different types of fans that we saw there. Another building block, Jeff, for them to step up to TNA and where they're going.
Yeah, and I think, going back to the words that Will Ospreay spoke at the end of the event, that was a shoot. I mean, it felt like a shoot. He felt like he was speaking from the heart, and it wasn't it didn't feel like it was, necessarily in character. It was him sharing his love for the company. And I feel like they have a really good chance. I mean, I know a lot of people, like you said, are saying, "Oh, well, TNA, they don't have any money. They're not WWE." Okay, keep thinking that. That's okay. I can tell you now that they want to make a splash.
Yep.
They don't just want to make a splash by changing the name. They want to make a splash by being a destination.
Yep.
Having a guy like Will Ospreay changes the landscape. That's just my opinion, and I think they have a great shot at doing it. And maybe it is some of the money that they'll fork over. But I think more importantly, it's going to be some of the matchups that they can give him.
Yep.
I think that's what this guy is looking for. And I will say, I did see him tweet, at the end of the Seth Rollins match.
Yep, he did.
And, Seth Rollins saying the water's warm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it. If I'm Seth Rollins, I respond to that too.
Yep.
Because that's a match I can tell you right now that I really want to see.
Oh my
God. But, I think that TNA has a great opportunity, a great shot at signing this guy. And the whole night, I mean, Leon Slater.
Yeah, Leon. Oh my gosh,
is going to be great in TNA. He's going to be great.
Yep.
Danny Luna, who we'll talk about a little bit more. I feel like is starting to get a little more spotlight in that Knockouts division. Had a really good match with Jordan Grace. At the end of that match, we saw a show of sportsmanship and mutual admiration and respect between Jordan Grace and Danny Luna. So I felt like, that performance really put her on the map.
Yep.
As someone to look for in 2024 in TNA in that Knockouts division. But yeah, great night. Trinity retains. We might see Gail Kim again, which is fitting given that we're going back to TNA. So yeah, I'm excited about TNA in 2024.
Yeah, man. And I am an absolute big fan of Will Ospreay. I said it on the show. I said he won himself a fan. I'm super, super impressed by him for more reasons than one. His wrestling goes without saying. But what he did, like I said, he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to come out and do that. I'm sure I'm sure Scott D'Amore didn't say, "Hey, go out and make a good speech for TNA. He
No.
didn't have to do that. He just did. And that says a lot for a person's character. He believes in what he believes in. He loves what he loves. He was a kid who was a wrestling fan. And so, yeah, I'm a fan. And I'm, I've been watching some of his other matches and stuff like that outside that I haven't seen before. And no matter where he decides to go, I'm a fan of his. So great night for Impact. And we just have more of that stuff coming. They've been overseas and they're doing stuff in all these different venues and stuff over there. That's what we're going to get on the next couple of shows. We'll have IPWF coming up with them, which is hilarious, by the way. If you've never seen that, they all get in different characters and stuff like that, and they become these different, like, just larger than life, funny, a lot of comedy in it and stuff like that. It's great stuff. So we'll be doing that one week. We have another pay-per-view yet for them until the turnaround to the big TNA show, which is Hard to Kill in January. It's going to be one of the biggest pay-per-views, and I will say this, going to be one of the biggest pay-per-views we've ever done a watch along for. One of the biggest pay-per-views we've ever done a watch along for. I guarantee it. It's history. It is absolute wrestling history. Listen, guys, if you're WWE fans, that's perfectly cool. If you're AEW fans, awesome. You're just wrestling fans in general, though, you need to come out for that. If you don't watch it, you need to come out for that show. It is going to be history, and you don't get to see history very much in wrestling because it's been around for so long. But great stuff. Yep, awesome stuff. All right, we're moving on.
So you did that on purpose, didn't you?
I did.
you did that on purpose. You see, I'm just gonna put this on straight. See, this is how you know this dude has been doing this. So.
Woo! GCW. Oh, without a doubt, man. Anyone who loves any kind of wrestling clown is awesome in my book. I don't care what you like. It's just the fact that you enjoy wrestling, whatever type it is. GCW, MLW, any of them that are out there. It doesn't matter to me. You're a wrestling fan. That's all good. This happened. Oh, good, sweet Lord. I was, I don't get, I've said this before many times on our show. I don't get to watch a lot of AEW. I don't, because I have so many things to do during the week. Wednesday's usually my night. I kind of get to just chill, do some other things, play some video games and stuff like that I don't get to do during the week. So I don't watch much AEW. However, I did tune in this week simply because I heard about this big announcement that was going to be made by Tony Khan. So I had to see it, of course, being that we're streamers of wrestling, so it's always good to be in the know. So I, put it on and I'm watching, and it was pretty good stuff. I got to see Edge and Christian and all those guys, and it's always fun to see them. And I got to see some of the other matches and stuff like that. And then, well, we had the big announcement. The big announcement from Tony was, well, we'll get to that a little bit later. That was a different story, but the whole thing with Sting, when it was, what did he call it? He called it a gift.
A gift.
I have a gift for Sting. I don't know. That just kind of rubbed me the wrong way too. You present a human as a gift, okay? And then we hear him come out and we say, listen, Ric Flair is a legend. There is no question, no doubt. He is on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. No question about it. The fact that he comes down to the ring, he he's already stated Sting that he's going to follow Sting until the end of his career, whatever that means. He is now All Elite. He is signed, and they also did say that he has been cleared to take bumps. Why would they say that? Unless there is some sort of match planned. This man, woo indeed. This man had that last. I'm retired. This is it. This is my last match ever. I'm just gonna say this, and we're gonna get back to this a little bit later too. But if Sting ends up wrestling Ric Flair for his last ever match at that pay-per-view next year, I just can't. I just can't. That is, I am really hoping that doesn't happen. I'm really hoping he wrestles Darby Allin because that's how it should go. But if he wrestles Ric Flair in his last match, oh my God, no, that is not good for Sting. That is not good for Ric Flair's legacy. That is just, I just don't. I continued to watch the show a little bit, and then I saw the Big Show come out on the stage. He didn't even look like he could walk very well. I mean, he was coming out, sauntering out slowly, and he looked okay, but and then he comes out and just gives somebody that big punch, and it's like, good Lord, like what is going on? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. And I've said it before. I can bring up 3 little letters to mind as to how I see this promotion going. And they are WCW. Laugh at me about it. Say I'm crazy. But if you watch that promotion and you know what happened to that in its later years after the NWO and after all that other stuff, and the 3 guys were in the back controlling everything, and the too many kitchen cooks in the kitchen business, they are making the same mistakes. And what, I'm not even going to get into that part of it, but I'm going to wait with the other part. But anyway, Jeff, much respect to this guy, Ric Flair. He is, without a doubt, one of the best of all time. Now, if they're going to have him in the back, if they're going to have him talking to the guys, the younger guys, mentoring the younger guys, I'm all for that. But if he's involved in the ring in any way, I don't know what to even say about it.
So let me ask this: even if it was a tag match,
to me, I don't know, Jeff. I think at this point, right? So I think someone mentioned it on Busted Open. A great spot for him to be. Could you imagine him with MJF as or him with another wrestler? I'm trying to think of the wrestler who they said it could be. Damn it, now I forgot. But it was somebody who could go up against MJF, and imagine him speaking for that other wrestler on behalf of them and doing promos with MJF. That is tremendous. Tremendous. That would be amazing. Ric Flair doing a promo battle with MJF, awesome. I can't remember who they said it with, the wrestler they were thinking about was, but that's fine. But any more matches, Jeff, even a tag match, no, I'm out. He said he was done. He should have been done. Andrade. Thank you, Derek. That was it. That was who he said. Andrade. Imagine him being Andrade's mouthpiece and Andrade going up against MJF. That's brilliant. I'm all for that. No to anything in the ring. No, absolutely not. I don't want to see him in a tag match. I don't want to see him in anything else because to me, Jeff, I don't even know who I can compare it to. But at that point, you're like, it's too much. It's too much. I don't want to see this anymore. This is not the Mount Rushmore guy that I hold in dear respect in my mind anymore. And I don't want to see it anymore. So no, not even a tag team match for me, Jeff. Not even a tag team match.
I understand that. I think, for me, I just want to see him safe.
Yeah, right. And I see wrestling just chimed in with that same thought. Yeah.
Not in harm's way. Because, maybe he's in good outward physical condition, but I mean, Ric Flair's had a lot of health problems.
Yes, he has.
So again, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, is it really doesn't make sense to see Ric Flair at this stage in his life in a ring. I don't want to see that be the last time we see him breathing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want that for him. I think that there are a lot of things that they can do from a storyline perspective to involve and include Ric Flair in a ton of stuff. And that I'm excited about. Like I genuinely am. I'm ready for him to have some form of encounter with MJF. Like I have to see.
Oh,
I have to
that's
see.
brilliant. That's
Like,
brilliant.
even if it's just backstage, real briefly,
Yep.
and you see like Ric Flair looking at him and kind of like thinking to himself, "Am I looking in a mirror? Am I seeing, am I seeing myself in the past?" That kind of thing.
Yep.
I think there are a lot of things that they can do from that standpoint. I just, again, I just want him to be safe.
Yep.
I'm no medical expert, so if his doctor tells him that he can wrestle, who am I? But I
Yeah.
just know that if it involves me paying money to see him wrestle at this point in his life, I just don't want to see one of my heroes in the business going out in a way that, you know, may not end so well. So,
Yep.
but that's just me. I might be a stick in the mud, but that's just me.
No, 100%. And the other person who I was thinking of that was talking about him was Thunder Rosa, because of course she's in their locker room and stuff too. And she had said that so many people in that locker room could certainly benefit from having Ric Flair in the back. Of course they could. Of course they could. Who better to listen to advice from? Anybody who he walk up to and want to give them advice about how to help their wrestling career, nobody would say no. They'd be crazy to. So for 100%, she's 100% right with that. That's fine. But again, what's sad about the whole thing is you get to a point. And I know this, I know some people who were musicians. I know some people who, and Jeff could probably tell you this from his football career. It's hard to let that go. It is hard to let that go. I'm probably one of the biggest fans of the band Kiss that you've ever seen. They are 70 some years old and they're still up on stage playing. Why? For the most part, they're legends. They don't have to do that anymore. They're on there because, well, probably two things. One, I'm hoping they like it. Two, because they can't let it go. They can't let it go. That feeling that they get, and they describe it, the wrestlers talk about it, that feeling that they get when they walk out in front of that crowd. Just imagine last Crown Jewel 2 nights ago. That crowd in that place is huge. You walk out to that, you will never get that feeling again in your entire lifetime unless you're a pro wrestler and you keep doing stuff like that over and over again. That is addicting. It's like a drug. They all say it. People that are musicians say it. People who are Broadway actors say it. That is like an adrenaline shot, a constant adrenaline shot. And when you get that, you can't turn it off. You can't turn it off. And that's why you can't walk away from it. You can't walk away. It is just hard to say goodbye to that because that is a part of you that is just gone. And I'm sure that's what he's feeling. He spent so much of his life in that limelight, in front of those huge crowds, in front of WrestleMania crowds, in front of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people through his career. He just can't let it go. And that's when it gets to just be sad. And that, like, even for me, right? And I'll go back to Kiss. Even for me, I've been watching some highlights from some of their latest concerts that they had. Paul Stanley, their lead singer, can't sing anymore. He's trying to hit notes and he can't. And for me, that's not how I want to see a legend go out. That's not how I want to see my heroes. Like Jeff just said perfectly, by the way, that's not how I want to see my legends go out. My heroes go out. I don't want to see them doing this and not being able to sing a note. I don't want that. That's not what I want to remember. And so You know, people were saying to me, "Are you going to go see them in their last concert in Madison Square Garden?" No, I don't think I could. I don't think I could because that's not the band I want to remember. And I think a lot of people probably feel the same way about Ric Flair. So, yeah. So we'll get back to that. Yeah, their last concert is it's December 2nd. I did look at tickets, and I'm like, I just couldn't. I just couldn't. I'm not that far from there, but I just couldn't. Hello, Christopher. How are you? All right. So that was our news segment. We're moving on, and where we're moving, well. You know where we're headed next. Everyone's favorite segment of our show. It's that time again. It's airing of grievances.
All right, here we go.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
It is the airing of grievances segment, folks. We skipped this the last time because we were just really happy. And it only takes a week to make you kind of a little not so happy. And so we have some grievances to share. Jeff, do you want to start us out?
Yeah, I guess I can start.
Go right ahead, sir.
My grievance is very simple. It just bugs the heck out of me seeing all of these experts online that just know everything there is to know about wrestling, and you know they know all the terminology. You know they know all the stuff because they read it in an article that Meltzer wrote or somebody wrote. That stuff doesn't make you an expert. I can say this. I've been watching medical shows and police procedurals all of my life. At no point have I ever gone up to a police officer and said, "Hey, I really think you missed a step on your investigation. I think you should have done this." Or, "Hey, doc, you know, I know that you have gone to school and you've done all your residencies and all of that, but you know, instead of using the 10 blade, I think you should use this one instead." I've never done that. So the only thing I'm bringing this up because I see a lot of people talking about this wrestler sucks, that wrestler sucks, that kind of crap. And what I want to say to you is this. It'd be very easy for me to ask you if you've ever taken a bump because I know what the answer is for most people. But just be kind. Like, you know, not everyone is going to have the athleticism of a Ricochet or a Will Ospreay. Not everyone is going to be that graceful. So some people are going to look a little bit different when they take bumps. Some people, you know, believe it or not, I know all of you experts out there may disagree with this, but some people aren't meant to look graceful when they're in a matchup. They're meant to look powerful and rough and rugged. That's how it's supposed to look for some people. Because you don't want it to look like they're taking care of their opponent and just gently laying them down on the canvas. So to all of you experts who have gone through wrestling schools and you know all the terminology because you took a pop quiz online, and you've never ever taken a bump, be kind. Be kind to people, because I guarantee you, if you switch jobs with these men and women that are on the road constantly away from their families, entertaining us all, you know what? I'd love to see one of these wrestlers call out one of these fans at a show and say, "Hey, you're you're gonna take my segment. You're gonna cut a promo in the back. I'm gonna walk you back there so you can cut a promo, and that's it. Not gonna give you any cue cards. You just have to cut a promo. Oh, and you have to do it on live TV in front of millions of people. Good luck. That's what I would do, but I'm not in that spot, so that's my grievance.
Yeah, man. I don't know, that whole mentality of I'm gonna criticize just because I feel like I can. That entitlement, thinking that because you have a supposed voice on the socials that you can say anything you want to say about anybody you want to say anything about is pretty ridiculous and getting really, really old. And some people just do it to get kicks. Some people just do it because they're just morons, and some people do it, I don't know, for so many different reasons. But it's just disgusting. And yeah, who are you to criticize anyone that you've never been in their shoes? No matter what it is, it's just stupid and very immature. But yeah, I agree. Dave, in real life, hello to you. Dan has a little piece here. Apparently, Roman Reigns and Malachi Black, of all people, are in an upcoming movie called Action Force: The Divide. So they're going to be on the big screen, and no details about it. It has an IMDb page, but very interesting. Roman and Malachi Black teaming up, so that's very cool. So Roman probably doing some of that work when he's not around the ring, I would imagine. So cool. Mm-hmm. All righty then. My grievance for this week happens to revolve around when being that we're talking about propaganda. I started telling you a little bit about this earlier, that I don't get to watch much AEW, but again, I had to tune in because of this show primarily, and the big announcement that was being alluded to. The week before we had the gift, and now this week we had the big announcement. The big announcement, like huge. I can't even think of a better word for humongous, stupendous, all those words that you can think of that maybe would be used by a ringmaster in a circus tent. Announcement that was going to happen on AEW this past Wednesday. So I tuned in, and I'm waiting, and then all of a sudden there's a segment with Tony Khan. And Tony comes out, and man, I'm waiting for this big thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe, I'm speculating, right? I'm massive. C said massive. I'm speculating as to what this is going to be. And I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe this is finally going to be the announcement about HBO Max, that they're going to be on Max, which would have been huge. Finally get them on a place where the pay-per-views wouldn't cost $70. And if you have a subscription to Max, it would be awesome because you could watch the old content. You could watch the new stuff. You could watch pay-per-views. Would be awesome, right? And I'm pretty much in my head. I think that's what I thought it was. Or I don't. I'm thinking, well, what else could it be? Tony likes to announce there's new wrestlers coming, but they usually do that for a pay-per-view. So I'm pretty well set on the fact that it's the Max announcement, right? That's been talked about for so long. I'm thinking that's what it is. And then all of a sudden, they cut to this little thing, the promo the promo for last year's All In. Now, did they set records there? Absolutely, they did. They blew it out of the water. They had how many tickets sold? They 81,000, blah 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 blah, whatever it was. So tremendous amount of people that went to see that show over in England. Totally blew it out of the water and stuff like that. So the announcement was that they're now wait, hold on. Now, if you didn't watch the show, right? Just hold on to your seats here. Hold on to your seats. It's just. I'm telling you, just wait, because you might pass out. You might fall over backwards when I tell you what the announcement. Well, are you ready? Are you ready? Ready? I'll give it ready. 3. Now I'm going to let you go if you want to go because it's big. 2, You have one more second to go before I'm telling you. Yeah, one. Tickets go on sale for All In right now. You too could go out and get tickets for All In right now before Christmas. Hell, you can get them for Christmas for somebody. Get them a Christmas present. Throw it in their damn Christmas stocking. You can get tickets for All In right now. Wow. Effing wow. What? What? This is the big, like, what the hell? I'm sorry, December. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not even now. I guess now would have even been bigger than December. I guess I was thinking Christmas. So you think about it, get him as a Christmas gift. What? What the WTF? This is this big thing that made me take my precious time out of my week to watch for, because I'm thinking this is going to be something we're going to talk about on this particular show. Well, not this way. That's the big announcement that you have. Dear sweet Lord above, what are you doing? What are you doing? Who am I to ever think in the world of wrestling, in of all the people that could pass on knowledge to anyone, who would I think that the person I would listen to about something? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this person is a horrible person. I'm not saying he had a big part in wrestling history, but Vince freaking Russo. I listened to something that Vince Russo did about Mr. Khan and said, and he is 100% correct. He came out and sent a personal message to to Tony Khan saying, Tony, let your talent speak for your promotion. Stop coming out. Stop taking the lead. Stop taking the mic. Stop being the person that's in charge of the media scrums. Stop being head and front and center of everything with your promotion. Stand in the back. Be the lead. Be the owner. Be the guy that doesn't always have to be on. Stop doing that. Let your talent do your work for you. And boy, was he right. Boy, was he right. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's trying to be what Vince was to WWE when he played the villain so many times on the show and all this other. I don't know. But it's not working. It's not working. I'm not going to say that there aren't some amazing wrestlers in AEW. There are a lot. There are a lot that we don't see, which is sad, especially the women. There are some amazing people in that promotion, amazing talent. Why in God's name is this guy always front and center? Why is he always front? Well, he's front and center because he's the owner. That's the thing. He's front and center because he owns the company. And just, when you do something like this, you're going to turn your own fans against you. It's a classic Boy Who Cried Wolf story. You do this one too many times, no one's going to believe you anymore. Your surprises aren't going to even listen. We have a lot of people in our channel and on Twitter and stuff like that who follow us that are AEW fans, a lot. And a lot of them don't agree with what we say about it. And that's fine. They're defending their favorite company, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, even those people that do that couldn't defend this. Could not defend this. And then you go back to the Ric Flair being a gift. Couldn't defend that either.
And then on top of that, him signing a multi-year deal. The news about him being able to take bumps. You just can't defend that kind of stuff. And that's why I said earlier in this show, you must, to be a wrestling historian,
Tony says he was a huge wrestling fan. I don't doubt he was. I don't doubt that he was a huge wrestling fan in his career. I don't doubt that in his life, rather. I don't doubt he watched a ton of wrestling. I don't doubt it. He seems like a fan. I think a lot of the reason why he wants to be front and center all the time is because he's a fan. He is definitely a fan. However, you must learn from history. That is said about anything. You must learn from history. All you have to do is look at the downfall. Hell, it's on every YouTube video. You can watch it anywhere you want to. The downfall of WCW. You can look at that and find out how quickly that went south and learn from that, because it's a similar path that you're starting down. And, you know, I am for the wrestlers. I am for the talent. I am fans of the talent. I was never a fan of Vince McMahon. I was never a big, I thought he was funny in some of the stuff that he did, in the character that he played. But I never rooted for Vince McMahon. In fact, I rooted for him to get beat up by Stone Cold and hit in the head with a bedpan. That's what I did. And if he wants to do that in his promotion, he could do that, I guess. And maybe people would enjoy that more. But you need to just look at history and you need to learn from it. Because if you don't, your company is going to go the way of that other company that did. And wrestling fans are smarter today than they were maybe back then. They have choices today that they didn't back then. You had WCW and you had WWE. You have choices now. You can move on and you can watch other things. So you got to stop this stuff. You got to start being real with your fans. You got to start giving your fans what they want. You got to start don't worry so much about the ratings. Don't worry so much about what segment does what when. Looking at the statistics all the time, that doesn't always equate to a better show. I complain all the time. I can say almost to the minute when I know there's going to be a women's match on that show. Always around 9:20 at night on a Wednesday. 9:20 p.m. is when the women are on. Every single time. Every single time. And if it's not, it's an anomaly. Why aren't they leading off a show? Why aren't they main eventing a show? Talent like Britt Baker, talent that are that. Why are they not ever doing any of that? They're just not. So
and we're gonna talk about that a little bit more too. In a new segment.
That's a good segue. Yeah, I'm gonna end it here because I could go on and on, but coming out with that crap, a big announcement, huge announcement, it's something a dirty politician would do. And it's juvenile. It's childish. It belittles your fan base. Not smart. I'm done.
All right. Well, you know what? I think we should take some of that same. Let's keep the energy there because we've got Sell or No Sell coming up, and we've got some topics this week that might get some people riled up. You know. So let's start with the first one here. Roman's reign. See what I did there? Has gotten stale.
We're gonna have some spice tonight here.
A
little spicy. You look at the red peppers on his on the lay there, right? We're spicy tonight with these topics. Roman's reign has gotten stale. Oh my gosh. We praise this all the time about how cool this bloodline story is and how awesome it is, and how amazing that it has been for as long as it's gone. I'm going to play a heel tonight, baby, and I'm going to say, I'm selling this, mother. I'm selling this, baby. All over it. All over it. I'm selling it. I'm sorry, but... And I'm not, this is nothing against what Roman has done, nothing against the history that he is making, nothing against all of that. But it's gotten stale to the point of where they are repeating the same damn thing over and over and over and over again. That's how something gets stale. You can keep doing this. You can keep doing this. But when you know exactly to a point how a match is going to end, and you know, okay, when's going to be the time where somebody from Roman's stable, somebody from the bloodline comes out, interferes in the match, Paul Heyman interferes, makes the guy he's wrestling lose, Roman wins because of interference, over and over and over and over and over again, time after time after time. You knew it was coming. It happened again in Crown Jewel, and it just keeps on going the same direction. That is when something gets stale, right? That is when something gets stale. To me, yes, it is. It is. I get where they're probably going to go. I was saying it earlier. You can have LA Knight and Jimmy Uso in a program. You can have, I get it. And again, this is more than likely going to culminate with Cody Rhodes having his hand raised over Roman, and someone at some point is going to overcome this pattern. That pattern that you see with Roman and the bloodline coming out and beating everybody up, someone's going to overcome it. More than likely, they're going to have an Avengers style ending to this. And I'm going to describe that for you in case some of you didn't watch Endgame. The big boss, Roman, Thanos. How do they end up beating him? All of Thanos's the people who he rid himself of, who he snapped away, all came back in one big, humongous group to beat him. That's how I think this is going to end. The bloodline's still always going to be there, but all the people that he wronged along the way, including Sami Zayn, including Jey Uso, all of those people are going to be the ones who are going to come down to that ring, and they're going to keep things even and make Roman have to beat. If it's Cody, then it's Cody 1-on-1. They're going to take everybody else out of the picture. None of them are going to be able to help him, and then he will lose, and that saves face for Roman, because Roman, well, not really, I guess, because he's going to lose 1-on-1. But, I don't know. I just think it's been done to death now. I think it needs to come to an end. I get it. It's been a great storyline. It's been tremendous. It lasted for so long that no one expected it. But I just think it's time that they need to cut the pattern. It's just, I'm tired of it now. It's just tiring when you know how you can predict exactly how this is going to be. And they're going to, and to be honest, there's some people that are saying too, that it kind of demeans his reign a little bit because he can't win by himself. And now I get it. And Jeff makes very good comparisons. And he talked to me about it a little bit, about being a mob boss. The mob boss never really fights. The mob boss is kind of up high on the chair, right? He never really fights unless he's absolutely 100% forced to. The Godfather, Scarface, they don't fight until they're absolutely forced to. The underlings do it for them. And the underlings always kind of save the bosses. So I get it. I completely get it. But I think to change it up a little bit wouldn't be a bad thing. And I think they could just change it a bit. Change it into something just a little different. Maybe instead of the bloodline running out, maybe have Heyman slip him a pair of brass knucks. Something just a little different that we haven't seen for a little bit. And somebody else could still kind of help him, but make it a little different. It just has gotten to the point where it's the same thing over and over and over again. And so, yeah.
Can I pitch you a small change to it? A small change to the finish?
Yeah, I was done anyway.
To see if it changes how you feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say last night or yesterday, instead of Jimmy or Solo coming out, let's say coming out to help him per se, let's say they just come out and stand around the ring. You have one stand at the bottom of the entrance right there at the ringside, and then you have another one make the way over to another side of the ring, and they're just standing there. And Roman looks at them and smiles, and they do nothing.
I'm okay with that. because that's just him having henchmen. But on the other hand, that's also him being a like a, you know what? I think there was a similar situation in a Marvel thing, and it may have been Daredevil that I'm thinking about it, because the Kingpin, all right? I kind of think of Roman Reigns as kind of a similar character to the Kingpin in Marvel. The Kingpin in Marvel is this huge figure, crime boss. He's just this huge dude. You just don't mess with him. And he can also beat people up if he wants to. He just doesn't do it all the time. But I liken it to the kind of that type of a thing. And he does have a lot of people that work for him, a lot of underlings. But a lot of times when he just wants to take care of business, he's like, okay, I'm going to pull my gloves off. You stand back, and I'm going to take care of this myself. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'd be 100% fine with that. Perfectly fine with it. That they don't interfere at all. And then he sees them, and then he's just like, or Jeff, that he gestures to them and says, you stay out of here. I got this.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine, because there, even in the gangster films, the mob boss has to do his own work sometimes.
At some point, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I will say this. I'm probably in the other camp for right now.
Okay.
Even though I will say that it's getting a little old. I need to see some wrinkles. So I am gonna say no sell.
Okay.
But I'll say it like this: the next time Roman is in the ring and he has a match, if we're going to get Roman retaining, which I don't see him losing it between now and WrestleMania,
Right.
I need to see a wrinkle. Now, I think a lot of this, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just overthinking this, at some point they're going to turn Roman Reigns back into a babyface. What's the best way to turn him back into a babyface, in my opinion? Have it be where he finally stands up and says, you know what, I didn't want this help. Paul Heyman was behind it. He's been telling these guys to save me. I'm perfectly capable of doing this on my own. I didn't need Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. I don't need Jimmy and Jay or Solo or Sammy. I don't need any of them. I can do this on my own. I think if that's the direction they go, they can have a lot of fun with this. But at some point, it's like, okay, we get it. You're going to get help. Even when the other guy looks like he's got you beat. At some point, we know you're going to get the help. So next time, have the help come a little bit later for Roman. Have those cracks start to show a little bit. If you're leading towards having Solo be kind of the person that takes Roman down, if that's the path you're going, have him make some eyes towards Roman. Like, you mean I got a savior behind again? You know, like, I want to see some wrinkles. So while it's not quite stale yet, I'm check. You know, if it was bread, I'm checking it. I'm rotating it to see if I've got some green in some spots. Because it's I'm worried it's going to get there in a few days.
You reminded me of a time in my life when I grabbed a piece of stale bread and almost toasted it, and I didn't even realize it. And it was one of those things I didn't even look, took it out, and then thankfully, when I went to put it in a toaster, I saw green. I'm like, oh, and I just grabbed it. Yeah, that's a great point, and absolutely great point. Let me see what the chat said here.
It's been a spice. It's been a very, very good discussion in the chat.
I can see, yeah. Cell says Dylan, Cell says Derek, Cell says Chris, Cell says John G, Alexis Gamers, Cell, James Grant, sell it. I sell it a million more. Cell says Swag fan. Deanna says no Cell. It's only the third inning. She's quoting Paul Heyman. Huge, holy huge Cell. He was stale a couple ago. He is festering. Brendan says Cell. Erasure Mind says beyond stale. It's a rotting corpse right now. Tony says Supercell. Brandon says sell big time. It's true regardless of what anyone else. RK's talking about the last topic. Jeremy saying Supercell. Big Dan says no sell. Roman is basically the kingpin and Galactica and Doomsday. He's the final boss who only fights as a last resort. This is basically what the Horsemen did for years, but I agree that he'll lose. How can it get stale when Roman is hardly there? Jimmy Uso's with the Bloodline. SMH, yeah, it's time to change. It starts with Roman's ending Cell. They are building Solo to turn on Roman. It's the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. It will collapse from within. The Thanos glove on Roman is the clue. Yeah, he always wore that red kind of looking Infinity Gauntlet type glove. Yeah. Tazzy says no sell. Sean Rasay says no sell. Probably sell because he's not on TV a lot. Roman is good, but a repeat interference. I know he as a heel as backup, but it needs a change up. Deanna said, I'm playing devil's advocate. Roman is a tribal chief that runs SmackDown. His story is amazing and interesting. He's putting on part-time amazing matches. He's good for business and brings in business. No argument. The Bloodline storyline was pure cinema for a long while. It's gotten bad now. Say hello to my little friend, says Bonus Baby. Seth and Gunther are more fighting champions than Roman. He's making stars of people and moving the needle, giving us bigger stars. He's making history on a level others can't. Heyman can throw to Roman. Cody's rubber chicken. The Ric Flair certainly, that's a Ric Flair thing, as RK is talking about there. What if on a Thanos ending, Roman has another family ready to have his back? Well, that would go, I guess, coinciding with kind of Jeff saying a heel or to a face and having other friends, maybe. Roman is Aquaman in WWE. He kind of looks like him, doesn't he? The actor that plays Aquaman, Jason Momoa. Yeah. Michael Clark Duncan, Kingpin. Yeah, very good Kingpin he played. I liked him. The ending was stale. Was hoping for a win. DQ win for LA Knight. Otherwise, just the normal ending I expected. I like what Jeff is saying, so no sell. I think the only way he could turn him face is coming out to save either Jay or Jimmy after he drops the title and takes even more time off. Heyman is known for trading in the old for the new. Heyman trades in Roman for Solo. That I could certainly see happening. Heyman goes with, he's a scumbag, man. He goes with whoever he thinks is going to be his meal ticket. That's where Heyman goes. But he's the perfect goon for a mob boss because that's what they do. That's what they do. So, all right. Good stuff. Good stuff. We got more spice though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It gets spicier.
We've got more spice. Remember, you ever watch one of those wing eating things where they show the level of the wing eating, the wings that make them eat, and they have the little bit of red, and then it goes like a little bit orange, and then it gets that super hot red. Well, that's where we're headed.
That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next one up. Will he or won't he? I told you I'd do it. Joe said I'd do it. I did it. Will Ospreay will sign with TNA.
Where is Will Ospreay going to go? Man, oh man, my heart tells me one thing, my head tells me another, and I'm just going to go off the cuff completely probably here, and I'm gonna again sell this damn thing. I'm saying yes, he is going to sign with TNA and shock the freaking wrestling universe, because that's what it would do. It would bring the foundation down, baby. All these big companies thinking we got him, and he's gonna put a swerve and say, nope, you don't. He said it best himself. He is a TNA kid. He said that. He grew up with TNA. The name is back. He sees the opportunity that he can take. And like I said, they may not have to sign him for what WWE and what AEW might sign him for. We're going to come out and give you this big boatload of money, and we're going to sign you on for 10 years or 15 years. He may not want to do that right off. He knows he can make the bags of money. I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares about that personally. I think he wants to make a splash where he goes. I think because he said he's that TNA kid, he said he enjoyed his time there, and I think he's going to shock the world. And maybe, Jeff, just maybe, where would be the best place to see this? On that pay-per-view, baby. If he came out that pay-per-view to close that show and said, and then all of a sudden you see this big entrance and this big and it's after the main event, maybe even, and whoever wins the title there, and then all of a sudden this dude comes out and they say Will Ospreay is TNA. Oh my God, the wrestling world will explode. It'll be everywhere. The TNA name will be on Bleacher Report, ESPN, everywhere you want to talk about wrestling will have it because of that. He is signing with TNA, Jeff. I'm selling it. And yeah, maybe I'm a homer. I don't care. I'm selling it. He signs with TNA.
Oh man, hey, I'm loving some of the comments that we're getting tonight.
I'm seeing some, yep.
Yeah, we're getting some good ones. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna sell it too. Because again, I think that people underestimate the spending power of Anthem.
Yep.
This is very well a case where my heart is telling me he's gonna do it. My head is telling me he's gonna chase the bag and maybe get paid a little bit more.
Yep.
And that's okay too, because again, he's not 19 like Leon Slater. He's been around the world in some amazing matches, but wrestling takes a toll on your body. So that's possible. But I think from a sheer number of matchups, if that's his thing, I think from the number of matchups, great matchups that he could have in TNA.
Yep.
And that's with the current roster. Can you imagine if they add someone like a Mustafa Ali? Him and Ali in a match.
Oh my
Ali God. and Speedball. I mean, there are a lot of places that you could go with some of these matchups. So I'm gonna go with my heart here and say that he does. I'd love to see it. But yeah.
And I'm not saying he has to make a career of being there. I'm not saying he has to stay there for, like I said, I'm not saying he has to stay there for 10 years. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he comes, he makes an impression, and then if he decides, and look, a lot of wrestlers do this. They ultimately I use Ace Austin as an example all the time, because Ace, as young as he was, could have went to NXT and he decided not to. He wanted to be part of Impact, and he is a huge part of Impact. Now, does that mean he's going to stay there all of his career? He may still want at some point to chase his dream and be in WWE, and he may someday, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. And Ospreay may want to be in WWE or AEW at some point someday. I'm not saying he has to stay in TNA, but can he be a building block? Can he be one of the biggest building blocks on a foundation of a brand new TNA era? He certainly can. And that is, again, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's historic. You don't see this happen very often. And there are not very many times a person can get in on a ground floor and be one of those blocks that the company is built on. That's huge. Very, very big for someone that's his age to put on his resume and then go forward with. Humongous. And that's why I think it'll happen. Good stuff. Let me see what everybody's saying here. Let's see. This is hard, says Mark. No sell. I hope he signs, but I doubt he will. I'm in the middle with this one. Today report said WWE is interested. They're all interested in him. Why wouldn't they be? He's the biggest free agent out there. All of them are. AEW already said they have him. WWE now said they want him. Seth is tweeting him. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. They're all going to recruit him. They're all going to recruit him. Swack fan says sell. Tough one for me. Says Brandon, WWE doesn't need to carry a company. He needs to cash out before his bump card is up. Jeremy says sell. Christopher says sell. Dylan says sell. Sell for a year and a half and go somewhere else. Ospreay wants to be the center of attention. It's his world, and we are lucky to see him. My heart says sell. My mind says no sell. I hope it's a sell. I'm too much of a pessimist based on past experiences with TNA. This is a toss-up. I love TNA's two biggest advocates dearly, but Rollins is an intriguing dragon to chase. So I'm going to say half sell and half no sell. Mark says, Sell, I follow Ango, and he said, don't count out TNA and Will Ospreay. I think he's going to do the unexpected because it's what's best for himself and his family. My personal understanding of human beings is that they are all flawed. I can't say Flair or Hogan is worse than each other or anyone else. I have known too many dirty secrets of other people. Will Ospreay can be the next big heel. Will Ospreay and TNA would be awesome. Anthem has money, but wrestling can be a money drain. I doubt Anthem shareholders will. Yeah, I don't know about that. Money makes money. Money makes money. Remember that. TNA is going to make money. So no sell and sell. I think we might get a partnership contract with two companies just thinking outside the box, says Tazzy. Will Ospreay has name recognition. If he signs to TNA, not only will be TNA for a while, but I can actually see him being one of the first people to winning the no doubt, Mark. Winning the TNA world title and elevating the belt. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Tazzy, Jeff wants to know who? Tough question because social media doesn't represent human beings in general as much as some of us on social media like to think. That's very true.
I was gonna say, like, RK Shuttleworth and I have been having some pretty deep philosophical conversations about wrestling kind of off in the chat, and I really appreciate it. And that's the reason why I asked that question, because I think sometimes as wrestling fans, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in a little bit, but I think sometimes as wrestling fans, we think we're the morality police at times, and we try to pit one thing or one place or one person as worse than the other. And everybody's flawed. Everybody makes mistakes, but it's like, what do we do? Are we learning from those mistakes or are we compounding them? So I appreciate the conversation.
Yep. Good stuff.
Speaking of, we're about to have real good
conversation. Too much to text. We'll say who when I'm back on camera. Teaser, right. Tazzy. Tazzy's putting out a teaser for our Impact show next. One other thing, MJF is also hitting free agency, so who does WWE go after between the two? Yeah, there are other names out there that will be big names. I would be shocked, though, Dan, to be honest with you, shocked that Tony Khan doesn't bank up the Brinks truck to MJF store. Shocked. Yeah. Shocked if that doesn't happen. Shocked.
Yeah.
He's too young and he's too good at what he does. It's hard to find true heels and who can also be a face, as he's showing now. He's a talent, and I'd be shocked if he didn't give him his bags of money. Shocked. So, all right, we got one more spicy topic to go here.
Oh, this one gets real spicy.
We're going on the spice meeting.
Recent criticism of AEW is justified, Joe. Sell or no sell. And as we've gotten in the chat tonight, I expect continued great dialogue back and forth. That's what I expect.
Oh boy, I'm gonna get myself in trouble if people watch this video and probably respond on Twitter. Yes. Sell.
I love it.
Sell, and sell again. You can't do things like this and not expect criticism. I mean, is that what he's trying to do, just to get himself relevant on Twitter? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe this is a marketing ploy. I don't know. But two big whiffs right in a row in the span of 1 week. Yeah, it's certainly justified. It's certainly justified. And I can tell you why I'm selling it too. I am not going to claim, excuse me, that I am the biggest AEW fan. I'm not going to say that because I can't possibly be. I don't watch the show all the time, but I know a lot of people who do, and I can tell you that they have not been happy with any of it either. So I know, I have some friends that watch it every single week faithfully. They watch all their shows. They enjoy the content, but even they couldn't say anything about these recent things that happened as good things for the company overall. So because of that, and because of the things that I have seen personally, I can't possibly no sell this. The criticism is warranted at this point. It's warranted. You can only get away with so much. Doing stuff that seems like kind of off the wall, and that it goes over fans' heads, and they just say, "Well, that's just him being him." But the recent things that are happening really seem, and I've seen some of you guys in the chat have yelled it out. That you have even said that this stuff is just it's just out of the realm. It is just grasping for attention, and it's like a desperate plea for attention, trying to get like I'll even go back to the whole ranting stuff that he was doing on social media, the stuff back when they went up against NXT. That wasn't a good look. That wasn't a good look. People couldn't defend that. Even as some of them tried, but it didn't make any sense. They couldn't defend it. He's out there saying, but he got his ass kicked. The numbers were there. You can't debate it. You can't fight it. And then turns around and says, yeah, but, all the yabbits. But it can't. The proof is where it is. And it's just going to make you look bad. And like I said, there are some people that will just, yes, over and over, they will just continue to be behind him. But at some point, you reach a point where you just can't. And I think they're at that point. You can't not justify this criticism. He's getting it from all angles now. And that's why I said, agree with Vince Russo and step aside and let your talent do the talking. You've got a ton of talented wrestlers there. Let them be the ones to be the mouthpiece for your show. So, yeah, sell all the way. Go ahead.
So before I get started, I have, I think, 3 questions that I want to ask. I want to ask fans of AEW, and if you're watching this after we were live, please leave your comments in the comment section. And keep them respectful, because I'm going to be respectful in what I'm about to say.
I'm never to anyone answering questions either. We're better than that. So don't ever think that any of us are going to jump down your throat, myself or Jeff, because that's not what we are. So if you have an opposite comment of ours, we welcome that. Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. So I think I want to ask you 3 questions. Number 1, if criticism isn't justified now, when will it be? When will it be acceptable to criticize some of Tony Khan's decision making? I guess the second part of my question is, when it comes to your fandom of AEW, is it because you're a fan of AEW and the promises that they made and what they've done? Or are you a supporter because you are extremely jaded on WWE? And then my final question is, what's the matter with a well-formed, well thought out criticism that's not nasty, but that's a fair criticism of something you enjoy and love? Because I think once you answer those questions for yourself, I think at some point you'd have to say that Tony Khan and AEW are perfectly in line to be criticized with certain things. I do think that some of the criticism that they receive for certain things is a little over the top. I think some of it fits into the tribalism. I think some people just don't want certain things to work out. There you go. I think some people just don't want certain things to work out. And I will tell you this. I want AEW to succeed because AEW starting in the first place made WWE step their game up.
Hell yeah, it did.
Tell me when I'm telling a lie. I'm gonna pull a CM Punk. Tell me when I'm telling a lie. So they made them step their game up. That's good for business, but it also, the other thing that you have to keep in mind is that it improved business for the talent. It gave them another place to go.
Yep.
And I want to continue to see that.
Yep.
Because when that doesn't exist in the world of professional wrestling or entertainment, people tend to get real comfortable. And comfortable people in those situations don't always produce the best product or content. So I want them to get their stuff together. But I think we also have to be honest with ourselves and say, okay, why am I supporting this company? Why am I supporting this company? Is it because I truly want to see them succeed? Is it because I want to see them, stick up the double birds to the other company that I don't like anymore? I mean, what's the rationale there? What's your reason? And I think once you get down to the bottom of that, that's where the healing begins, we'll say. And I'm being somewhat tongue in cheek there, but I think it's time to hold Tony accountable for some of these things. Not just because, we're trying to criticize the guy and make him do something a particular way, but because we want AEW to be at its best.
Right.
We want it to be at its best. You got a ton of talent there. You got a ton of talent. Focus on that talent. Give those men and women the opportunities to shine. We're going to get into a question here in a second. Continuing on AEW, we're going to talk about their women's division. Mm-hmm. And I want to hit, I don't want people to just bash it or whatever. This isn't about bashing it. This is about offering genuine critique.
Yep.
Because we want to see them succeed. That's the direction that I'm coming from. I want to see them succeed. But there are some self-inflicted wounds. A lot of them have come at the direction of Tony Khan, unfortunately. And I think if we really want to see them succeed, we have to start being honest with ourselves and with others when it comes down to, am I really enjoying what I'm seeing? Because here's the beauty of Tony Khan being as active on social media as we know he is. If you're a true fan and you say, hey, Tony, love you, dude, love AEW, but this, fill in the blank just ain't working for me. As a fan who's been here since day one, can we work on this? Can you make a commitment to do that? Yep. Because he's going to listen. And you know what? You might even get a response from him because he seems to respond to everything.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, he seems to respond to everything. And then the last thing that I'll say, when we were talking about morality and stuff like that, and the other reason I think they deserve criticism is because Tony Khan has done a lot of, well, they said this about me and they have these bots and they have that. And I think another reason people love Tony Khan is because he's the anti-Vince in some people's eyes. And I think a lot of people wanted to see someone kind of rival Vince and be at the same level, but be completely separately different than what Vince McMahon was. And Tony, he's energetic and, he's really boisterous about, and really loves his company and supports it. And that's great to see. But here's what you shouldn't do when you're in that spot. You shouldn't take shots at people, which they deserve the shots. Don't get me wrong. Vince McMahon, nobody's going to take up for that dude. I'm not taking up for him.
Mhm.
But if you're going to take a shot at Vince and then less than 2 weeks later bring in Ric Flair, who has a lot of the same allegations that have been made, I'm not a court. I'm not in it to judge. I know everybody makes mistakes, and that's the conversation that I was having. But what I am going to say is this: if you're going to take this moral high ground of, well, Vince was known to do this, and then you're going to turn around and when you posted that, you had to know at that point that you were going to eventually sign Ric Flair. It's not like you just made the decision on the spur of the moment. Oh, Ric Flair, yeah, let me go sign him. I don't think that happened that way. So I think if you're gonna throw stones, don't live in a glass house. Because right now you're the clown just said it. Don't throw stones. Live in a glass house. Exactly. Yep. So my thing is this. It's all good to say that you're gonna have that moral high ground, but your hires and your business practices have to follow that as well. Don't try to pop a rating and sell your morality out the window because you're trying to pop a rating. Yep. If you're going to be different, but don't try to pop a rating to get more eyeballs. Don't sell that down the river, what you promised, which was an alternative to WWE. And I'm going to say something that some of you might not like, but it's feeling real entertainment-ish when it was promised to be something else. So just gonna I'm done.
We told you there'd be some spicy takes tonight. Let's see what people are saying here. Just because you're the boss doesn't mean you need to be the face of the company. I won't say names, but I know some people who will back him no matter what. Criticism reminds me of what has been directed at TNA in the past. It directs me to the whole flaw I made. WWE doesn't get this kind of criticism all the time. It gets criticism, but not quite like this. Sometimes I think it falls under the radar because it's the big one. It's hard for me to say it's justified based on what I see all around. Tonight's episode of Raw is brought to you by AEW Full Gear. Great question. If the criticism was equal, I would say sell, but it is not. Sell, says John. I feel like AEW is getting further and further away from the mission statement they had. If the matches get worse and safety for the wrestlers get more serious, then they deserve criticism. They need to keep their wrestlers safe as much as they should. Brandon Bart says, you're right. Jeff, you are right. Says Christopher Fact, says Swack fan. I know I'm going to be getting a lot of heat for this. But do you think Tony needs to resign because of all this stuff going on? Oh, that'll never happen. Yes.
No, can I answer that real quick? No, I don't think he needs to resign. I just think he needs to not focus on everything else and everybody else for a while. Focus on his own product. Put his men and women out in front. Let them do more of the talking. And he just needs to just sit back and let things run the way that they need to. He needs to empower some people that he has there on his staff, that he has in the locker room. He needs to empower some of those people and slowly change the structure of AEW internally. That's what I think.
Yep. We need an invasion angle. They need more stories and time. Deanna says, I want them to be the best version of themselves. You've got a talent. You've got the talent and a chance to let them make some amazing stories and keep your wrestlers safe. I'm not a diehard fan, but I do want them to keep going. Oh, yeah, no doubt. I think Tony got into Father James's stash when he went on Twitter rant. Erasure Mind says, bingo. Don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. Just like MJF throw a shot at WWE. Jeff with the ether, says Derek. After Cody left, AEW is not the same. When Tony stops worrying about WWE, they'll improve. Well, there you go. That was a very, very spicy segment of Sell or No Sell. And thank you all for playing along. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
Spicy though.
It was.
No, I'm saying it's about to get even spicier.
Yeah, we're gonna continue to turn things up a notch. We have another segment that Jeff thought of for our show, which will be ongoing, and we're gonna turn it. We have a heat theme for this, and there you see it. This segment is called the burning question of the week, and again. This is for you all to get involved with and play along. So here we go, and we're staying on that subject. You heard me mention it. I mentioned that you could. It's like clockwork. At 9:20 every night on a Wednesday, you will see the women are on AEW's show, and usually that's about it, unless there is an occasion where they have a championship match or something like that. But that doesn't happen very often. So here's the question: how would you book the AEW Women's Division, given that the analytics show low performance during their segments? That's what's always said when they're asked a question of why are we not seeing more of your women. That is the answer that is usually always given. The analytics show low performance during women's segments. So how would you book it, guys? Let us know in the chat. And Jeff, I'll let you start, man. How would you book the women's division of AEW?
Well, maybe I'm thinking of things a little too logically. I don't know. Someone stop me if I am. But I think in order for you to build a baseline, and yeah, I'm going to come at this from a marketing standpoint since that's what I do for my job day to day. But in order for you to build a baseline for how a product or a campaign or something is working, you first have to use it. Let me repeat that. In order for you to build a baseline for a product or a service or a campaign, you first have to use it. You have to put it in front of the public so they can consume said product or whatever it is that you have that you're trying to get interest in. Giving us one match a week or segments here or there doesn't really fulfill people's appetite for women's wrestling with AEW when you have the talent that you have on your roster. So what would I do personally? I would build interest by doing some backstage segments and releasing them ahead of time on social media. AEW does a great job with their social media. Use it. Create some buzz, create some interest. Do some backstage promos, do some things where people get into it. Build that interest and then take that what you just saw on social media, continue it on the show, now book a match for it. You don't have to formulaically go at the same time every week. You can start off a show with a run-in of sorts, or people getting into it in the locker room, something. Or, I don't know, take the clip of whatever you put on social media and use that to open your show. Like, we got this interaction on X today between so and so and so and so. And now we see them entering the arena. Now they're about to fight because now you've taken a match, you've taken competitors and you've elevated them. You've made a big deal of their interaction for all of your folks on social media to see. It's going to get shared around. Use that. Give them stories. You're doing great stuff with Toni Storm right now. Yeah. It's a darn shame. It's a darn shame that more people aren't seeing the work that she's doing. Yes, thank you, RK Shuttleworth. That's another thing that I would do. You got Madison Rain there. You know who else I'd go out and get? I'd go get Jazz. I'd go get some people who have been there, done that, and know the business in and out.
Yep.
So create interest. Use your social media following to create interest and then follow through with it. You know what? Even if you put it on Collision, if you put the matches on Rampage, at least they're freaking going somewhere. If you're not going to use Dynamite to highlight your women, use something to.
Mm-hmm.
But start creating a buzz on your social media. I think it paid dividends.
I like it that Jeff approached it from that standpoint. I'm going to make this very simple. Storylines. Where are any storylines? Now, like he just said, Toni Storm, what she's doing is awesome. I love the promos. I love the stuff she's doing with RJ. I love all of that. It's very Marilyn Monroe-esque. I love it, right? But there's been too many times in that one time slot that we see matches just get thrown together. And you know what it looks like? They're horrible. The matches are terrible. Do you blame these women? Do you think that, let me think of one, Britt Baker and Taya Valkyrie, do you think they had any chemistry? Did it look like they did? The match was awful. Do you think it's their fault? Do you know, I wonder how many times they may have practiced in the ring together. I wonder how many times they may have had any interaction in a ring of any kind together before they were thrown into that match. Both tremendous. Taya's awesome. And Taya, oh my God, she wrestles in AAA. She's been in Impact. She's awesome. And Britt Baker is fantastic. Do you know what that match was like? It was terrible. Why do you think that is? No storyline, no intro, no background, no nothing. Nothing. Wrestling works because of storylines. Wrestling works because of build-up. You know what wrestling match was very good that AEW had a few years ago? That was two women. Probably one of the best women's matches I've ever seen. An unsanctioned match between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. I think, in fact, Jeff and I were talking about that as match of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous. Storyline.
Storyline.
Yeah. You had people invested. Both of them. They were in a storyline. The storyline culminated in this, which was cool, a non-sanctioned match. So there was no contract signed. There was no nothing. It happened in a ring, and they even played it up in an angle where the show went off the air. And they did it after the fact. Fantastic. Fantastic. So where is it? Why do you think? We talked about it a bunch already on this show. Why do you think wrestling fails when it does? Do you think it fails because of the wrestlers? Do you think it fails because the wrestlers are just bad? Nope. Wrestling fails for the same reason that a 15, 20-year-old soap opera fails. It fails for the same reason that a really crappy TV series fails. It fails for the same reason that a sequel to a movie fails. The storyline sucks. Plain and simple. The storyline sucks. That's what it is. You need to get some. Now, people are suggesting get women in. Absolutely get women involved. Have them involved backstage. Have them involved as creative. Have them being creative. Start writing some storylines.
Producers of matches.
Yeah. Have them doing that. There is no storyline involved. That's why when you're putting Saraya up against, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some of the whatever. Pick another AEW women's wrestler to put Saraya up against and just throw them in a ring together with no build-up. No storyline, no interaction whatsoever. Not even, like Jeff was saying, a backstage segment. Nothing. You're going to get nothing. You're going to get lousy ratings. I don't care who it is. I don't care what do you want to know why your women's division is failing? Why their segments are low performance? You're not even giving them a damn chance. Because there is nothing good. There are no good storylines. Now, like Jeff said, what are they going to do with this Tony Storm thing? What's it going to turn into? I hope it turns into something good. But see, like Jeff's saying, more time for that means that they can have the Tony Storm thing develop into now a wrestling match. Wow, go figure. And then that could be a permanent thing on whatever show you choose to have that on, right? So instead of the 9:20 slot, I don't know, maybe give the Tony Storm stuff, which are going to evolve into a match from the storyline, a part of the first hour of the show. Damn. It's Abaddon comes out every Halloween only because it's every year for a women's title match. Why?
Oh man, I was trying to avoid speaking about her because I'm really going to get hot, but I'm going
to. That is just stupid, Derek. That is just dumb. Dumb execution, stupid. She is stupid popular. You want to know why? Because horror is popular. She's a zombie that is a demon. Where have we seen stuff like that before, and why does that work? Well, if you don't know that, then boy, oh boy, you probably just really don't know pop culture, and you really don't know what's going on around you. And for wrestling to succeed, it succeeds because it emanates pop culture. It has always been that way. Why was Hulk Hogan so popular? Because he beat the Iron Sheik. When the Iron Sheik and the whole thing with the hostage crisis was going on in the 1980s, he beat the biggest villain there's talk of so much that poor man, the Iron Sheik, was getting death threats wherever he went. And Hulk Hogan beat him because the hero beat the villain in a storyline. That's what wrestling is. And if you don't have that, you have nothing. Remember when Dr. Britt Baker during COVID did the whole thing in her dental office? They had that whole interaction, the wrestling match going in her dental. That was fantastic. It works. She's a dentist. So they had a dental office match. Okay. It's not hard. I don't understand it. I'm not a writer for wrestling. I'm not a writer, period. I went to college for journalism and I wrote some newspaper articles during my time doing it, but I'm not a career writer. But yet, I know that if I concocted some stuff, I can probably do a lot better than what they've got there. So whoever's writing this stuff, it's not hard. Just make a damn storyline for the women and have it just not one-off matches. Have it continue week after week after week. This is how you get stuff over. This is how the fans enjoy it because they keep seeing it time after time. Not a one-off match here. And then, let's just throw two women in a ring and see if it sticks. That's not going to work. Sure, they're not invested. You're not even giving them time with the person who they love the most. The fans all love Britt Baker. Where the hell is she? Is she on your show every week? Does she ever lead off? Oh, God forbid. Does she ever lead off Dynamite?
Hey, and you know what else I'm going to throw out, Joe? They did a bang-up job with that social media video with the Doja Cat song.
Oh, yeah.
Highlighting all of their women. Like, honestly, when I saw that video, it got me hyped. But then 2 minutes later, it pissed me off because I was like, you mean to tell me that I just watched this amazing video on social media that has me hyped for every single female talent, every single person they have on the women's roster, and I'm not going to see them? After I just saw a great video package, like, use that. Use it. You know what? If you got to get really, if you're struggling for storylines, and again, there are people in AEW right now who've forgotten more about wrestling than I'll ever know. Use those people. Even something as simple as just having people walking backstage and bumping into each other, brushing shoulders. Start there. That's the start of something. Oh, why did so and so and why did these two have look at each other a weird way when they what's the story there? Now I want to know why. Now I want to know more. Give us something.
You want to know why it fails? I'm a big Star Wars fan. You all know that. I'm going to quote Yoda. Do or do not. There is no try. And that is why you fail, because you don't believe in it. Do you believe? Nope. Then that is why you fail. They don't believe in it. They don't believe in it. They don't want to give it. That is why I will go to my grave saying Impact has the best knockouts division in wrestling. Hands down. They believe in it. They start their show with it. They end their show with it. They spotlight it. They have stories with it. They believe in it. They don't believe in it. I don't care how many athletes. You can fill a room with 100 athletes that are tremendous. But if you don't believe in what you have, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They don't believe in it. They have to commit. They have to make a commitment. Period. They have to make a commitment. And they should. And they should. Because you know what? If it continues this way, they have choices, folks. You think a lot of these women are going to stick around? I don't. Money's money. Yep. It's great. Is that enabling them to pay the bills? Sure. To support their family? Sure. Is that giving them their dream though? Maybe some, but I can bet you that they'd rather be involved in an awesome storyline on TV every week. So, yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. I like that. We're going to do that every single week on the show. It's called Burning Question of the Week. And again, thank you for all your participation with that as well, guys. We really, really appreciate it. We're running a little over. But that's
so we can skip the book of wrestler and we can just go into favorite moments.
Okay. Let's do that because we're heading into the 11 o'clock hour. It's getting a little bit late, I know, for all you guys too. So let's just do that. So we're gonna go 3, 2, 1. You know this segment. We've had this on our show since the start. We're on the favorite moments of the week. So we're gonna go 3, 2, 1. You guys in the chat go 3, 2, 1. So we're gonna start with moment number 3. Jeff, what is your third favorite moment of the week?
I know this question is coming every week, and every week I'm not prepared. But number 3 for me has to be the moment that we got between Gail Kim and Deonna Purrazzo at the end of that match. I am down for Gail Kim coming back to take on Deonna Purrazzo. I'm all good with that. I want to see that.
Yep, absolutely. That's going to be awesome just to see Gail back in the ring again. My number 3 was the little match that we had and the social media interaction. Talk about a storyline. The social media interaction between the two men, and then the match we got, and the song we got. My boy Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry and love what this guy does, man. The theme song he made for Simon Miller, freaking hilarious. He always finds those past pictures of the guys and pops them up on the screen. Wonderful, just absolutely wonderful. The guy just makes me laugh, and what he does is good. He's great in the ring too. But yes, Joe Hendry and Simon Miller, the match we got on the pay-per-view and the lead up to it with the new song that he does. That's what Joe does. If you don't know what he is, he makes fun of wrestlers by making up a theme song about them. So it was great. It was a wonderful part of that show. That is my number 3. And I'm a big Joe Hendry fan. Everybody knows it. Let's see what people got as their number 3. Ilja Dragunov against Carmelo Hayes 3 on NXT. DIY versus Imperium. John Cena and John Cena and Solo. Joe Hendry song about Simon Miller, said Dylan. Carmelo and Dragunov. Wardlow setting his sights on MJF. Yeah, how about Wardlow being back? That was cool. Wardlow's awesome too, and you just don't see him enough. He's a beast of a man. My number 3 is War Games coming to Survivor Series for the 2nd year in a row. Yes, War Games. That's going to be fun. We'll have that, by the way, on our channel. My number 3 favorite moment is Lola Vice winning the NXT Breakout Tournament. Okay, awesome. Jeff, let us go to our number 2. What's your number 2?
Well, speaking of the man that we can't see, John Cena cutting a promo, reminding us that he is one of the best ever in terms of a promo. I mean, the dude is phenomenal.
Yep.
To sit there and call Solo Sikoa a bargain basement version of Taz. To tell him that the only reason he's there is because his cousin works there. That's Cena at his best. So
yeah,
Cena's one of the best ever on the mic. So
yeah, he is.
Got to give him his due.
Yeah, that was a great promo. Let's see, we're still doing some 3s. War Games announcements, says James Grant, and then we're going to 2s. Okay, my number 2. Oh man, it was a very full week of wrestling. My number 2. Oh man. Let's see here what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go. Oh, yeah. How could I forget this one? My number 2 is the match between Will Ospreay and Eddie Edwards. Just again, like I said, I told you guys earlier, this guy has sold me as a fan. I really dig what this guy does, and what another tremendous. I didn't think it could be done. The match with Speedball was just unfreaking believable. I didn't think it could be done again and in such so soon of a time, but man, oh man, did these two put on a clinic, and just a tremendous battle between two really, really, really good wrestlers. And again, seeing him come out on top. And I'm gonna put a little sidebar here also, and I'm gonna put in his promo after that show. Are my, that's kind of my 2 and 2A. So that was just an absolutely tremendous thing for him to do, and something that he just didn't have to do. That he came out and he spoke from his heart, which is absolutely awesome. So that is my number 2. It was a fantastic match. Let's see what people got for 2s. Creed Brothers debut. Oh yeah, great debut for them on SmackDown. Or were they? I'm sorry, were they on Raw? Yeah, they were on Raw. My bad. Dragunov versus Carmelo, says Alexa Bliss Gamer. Solo destroying Cena at Crown Jewel. Wow, okay. LA and Roman's promo. Cena's promo with Solo was great. 2 Cena's promo. Maki Ito meeting the little girl who made a cardboard pizza cutter was heartwarming, says Clown. John Cena and Solo Sikoa face off before Crown Jewel. LA Knight promo on Roman. You're talking about the SmackDown one. Bonkers. I love that. Collision into intro. AR Fox beating down Swerve. My number 2 favorite moment, the Creed Brothers debut with Ivy Nile on Raw and their tables, ladders, and scares match on NXT Halloween Havoc Part 2. A lot of people pulling up some NXT stuff tonight. That's cool. You think Cena bringing up Taz was a shout out to Taz for mentioning Cena a couple days ago early on Dynamite? Maybe. Adam Copeland teaming with Darby and Sting, says Chris. Okay. All right. We're going to number 1s. Jeff, Number one moment of the week, man.
Number one moment of the week for me, man. This is tough. Again, I'm very unprepared. Number one for me, I'm gonna go with Will Ospreay
Okay.
sharing what he shared after the event. That was tremendous. I mean, and I've got a 1A. I've actually got a couple, but I mean, that was so heartfelt.
Yeah, it really was.
And yeah, it was so heartfelt. So that moment for me was tremendous. But I've got to shout out two other things from Crown Jewel. One, Kairi Sane. I think having her in the women's division makes it a better division. I think she's going to do great things, and I can't wait to see her and Bailey. They gotta come face to face at some point soon. So I want to see what that's going to end up being like. And okay, so this one's going to shock some people, but I want to shout out Logan Paul. The reason why I want to shout him out is because there's been a clip going around social media of Ray not quite making it back to his spot, and it looked like he was going to land on his head. And Logan Paul caught him, improvised, called an audible on the spot, and just kept flowing. You may not like the guy, and that's perfectly understandable. Perfectly understandable. Again, he's another person that has probably made some of those things happen for himself. But for him to be as new to the business as he is and to perform the way that he has every event, I got to give him his props because that was tremendous. And I mean, he was in there with the legend, so kudos to him.
Yeah, that's a great shout. I know people love to hate him, but listen, the guy had to train. You just don't get that way overnight. So he did have to train for that, and you're supposed to hate him. That's the way. That's the heel that he's playing. My number one was also Kairi Sane. I liked her when she was in WWE and NXT prior. Was always a fan, and the fact that I did, it's like, I mean, I kind of spoiled it actually because I read it and that she was signed. I saw it, but it didn't really matter. I wasn't really sure when she was going to make her debut, so the fact that she did make it the way that she did was awesome to see her. Like I said, she looks amazing. I love the outfit that she's wearing, the red and the black. I dig it. I think it's really cool. But yeah, having her back was really a huge highlight for a lot of people for Crown Jewel. So yeah, great seeing her back. Don't know what's going to happen, but I will be watching to see where that's going to go and how that's going to play out with the whole thing with Bailey. Because I think the stuff with Bailey and Io and Dakota and stuff, again, maybe getting a little bit on the kind of like, I don't know, maybe getting a little bit on the boring side a little bit. They really didn't have a lot working for them. So maybe now there gets to be, and who knows, maybe that'll even spill over into War Games as well in some way, which will be very interesting. But yeah, my number one was Kairi as well. All right, let's see what some people have here. Number one, Kairi Sane is back, says Big Boy Dally. 1A, Kairi, returning Crown Jewel, and 1B, Edwards versus Ospreay, says Dylan. Return of the Pirate Princess, Kairi Sane. Number one, my favorite moment is the most valuable treasure, the return of Kairi Sane and the reunification of Sky Pirates with Io Sky. Kairi Sane returning, Ospreay and Eddie. Kairi Sane returning, Seth versus Drew from Crown Jewel, says Nathan. Mark Briscoe returning, says Clown. Logan Paul versus Ray was number two. MJF scissoring the Acclaim. That was a funny moment. Yeah, that was a good moment. They really built that up. And then he finally did it. Yeah, that was fun. Kairi Sane returning at Crown Jewel, 100%. Logan deserves flowers. Give a lot of credit to him. Amazing veteran move. He looked more like a vet. He wrestles like a vet with no real experience. May not like Logan, but I'll say he knows his wrestling. And like Jeff mentioned earlier, it's probably a good, really good shout out is that he might very well end up in a program with LA Knight. And that's the case. It's going to be really, really good. And LA Knight will end up beating the big villain that everyone loves to hate for his first title, which is tremendous. Very, very smart booking. All right, guys. Sorry it's a little bit late. But we are going to call it a night. Thank you all for coming out. We really, really appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed our little spicy takes that we had tonight. It was a lot of fun. And hope you just enjoyed it all. The graphics and stuff like that, of course, Jeff worked really hard on those. So hope you enjoyed the new look. He's going to continue to be doing that with some of our other stuff. I like how our Twitters are up there. I just noticed that. So great stuff, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, please remember to drop a like on the stream for us tonight. Make sure you sub if you haven't done so already. We're climbing up that 3,900 mark. We're up to like 39.25. We need like 70 subs, I think, or so. So if you haven't done so already, please sub. If you know anybody who would maybe like the channel, please sub. Or please tell them to sub or share it. Also, make sure that you ring the bell to be notified about when we've got the future content, which our next show will be tomorrow. Like I said, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Abby's Abode. Please join them to find out what's going to happen with the horror brackets, and they'll talk about Joe Gacy and some other things related to wrestling as well on there. Maybe a little cross, maybe a little carrying cross as well. And then we'll be back for Impact, as we always are, Thursday night at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's going to be it for us, guys. Really, really appreciate all of you coming out and joining us for tonight. Hope you had an awesome time. Stay safe. Please be kind to one another. And hopefully we see you all on our next episode. Have a great night, guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Good night, everybody.